Good morning, good morning, good morning, my brothers and sisters. Good morning and welcome to another Good Morning Grief Devotion. It's your boy, Pastor Corey Allen Duncan Sr. Always excited, ecstatic, elated to have this wonderful opportunity to come to you to lead you in a very special way in today's Good Morning Grief Devotion. This is the daily grief devotion that is strategically designed to help you to navigate through your grief one day at a time. What is grief? I'm so glad you asked. Grief, my brothers and sisters, it is the natural, normal, and necessary response to loss, change, and transition that results in the expressions of feelings and emotions. That grief is what you feel on the inside. Mourning is how you reveal it on the outside. Therefore, we don't suppress it, but we express it. We don't ignore it, but we explore it. We don't conceal it, but we reveal it. We don't lock it up, but we let it out. And that's why we shout, "Good morning." Because mourning, my brothers and sisters, it is a good thing. And I'm so glad that you're here today as we lead you in a very special way in today's Good Morning Grief Devotion. Today, my brothers and sisters, is day 15. Come on and lean and glean. We're going to talk about the language of silence. The language of silence. Did you know silence was a language? That's right. Just like we have English and Spanish and all of these other languages, silence is a language, and it is a language that we speak even in our griefanese, right? As we navigate through our season of grief, we speak the language of silence. Let's talk about it, y'all. In grief, silence can be deafening, but it can also be sacred. I want you to know it's possible for two things to be true at the same time, right? Oftentimes we think it's either or. We don't consider that things can be both and, right? That in grief, silence can be deafening. That same silence can also be sacred. It's in the quiet moments that you often hear your own heart. You process your emotions, reconnect with your inner strength. That silence doesn't mean emptiness. It's a space for reflection and renewal. I want you to please understand this because, yes, again, in grief, silence can be deafening. It can be so silent. It can be deafening. It can be so many things because it goes through your mind and just the dealing with the quietness that we navigate through when we experience a loved one, when we experience the loss of a loved one, right? That sitting in that silence, it can be one of the hardest things for us to do because we're left with our thoughts. We're left to ponder our feelings. We're left to reconnect with our emotions, and some of us don't like that. That was the thing about the pandemic, y'all. Y'all know about the pandemic. Not only did it isolate us or it made us, lose a sense of community, but it was the silence. We were so busy, used to running and this, that, and the other, that we could no longer run from ourselves. That the pandemic put us in a position to where we can no longer ignore our feelings. We had to explore them. We could no longer suppress. We had to address them. We could no longer conceal them. We had to reveal them because we couldn't run. We couldn't stay addicted to busy. We couldn't be in a hurry. We couldn't go here, there, and everywhere. So we were left by ourselves. And because a lot of us were in solitude, right? We couldn't go nowhere. We got zoomed out, tired of talking on the phone. There was a lot of silence, right? And that silence, remember, two things can be true at the same time, that the silence can be deafening, right? But at the same time, the same silence can be defining as well. So in the quiet moments, y'all, hear your own heart, process your emotions, reconnect with your inner strength. That silence doesn't mean emptiness. It's a space for reflection and renewal. It's so very important for you to understand that this is a wonderful space for reflection. It's a wonderful opportunity for renewal. It's a wonderful time for you to reconnect with your inner self and your inner strength as you navigate through this season of grief. Rather than fearing the silence, here it is, lean into it. That's what I love. You don't have to fear the silence that comes along with loss, change, and transition. You can lean into it, right? This is how we get through it. We get through it by leaning into it. There's something that is teaching us. There's something good that we can extract from it, right? And what you do is you learn to lean into it. Use it as a time to listen to your thoughts, connect with God, or simply rest. Y'all, this is a prime time opportunity for you to listen to your thoughts, lean into God, or simply just rest. That the silence doesn't have to be deafening, right? It can also be defining. This is a defining moment in the midst of your life. In the stillness, you may find the clarity and peace you have been seeking. So many things come out of pivotal circumstances such as this. Y'all, we redefine ourselves, we regain a sense of identity. There's so much that happens in the midst of our lives when we go through pivotal circumstances just like this. We got to put ourselves in a position to where we can see it, where we can receive it, where we can walk in it, right? I tell you all the time, if all you see is what you see, then you fail to see what you need to see. And I know one thing that we see the loss, we see the change, we see the transition, and it can be so magnified that we don't see everything else that comes along with it. We don't see the other things. We don't see the opportunity for stillness. We don't see the opportunity to allow the silence not to just deafen us, but to define us. We don't see the opportunity for us to connect with God, to rest, to extract something good, even from the situation or circumstance that we're facing, that God is redefining us, right? And it's important for us to know. You may find the clarity and peace you've been seeking. Here's the point of application that I want you to follow. Spend 5 minutes in silence today. Close your eyes, breathe deeply, and allow yourself to simply be present with your thoughts and emotions. Spend 5 times in silence today. Close your eyes, breathe deeply, allow yourself to simply be present with your thoughts and emotions. Y'all, this is one of the most powerful things you can do. I went on a retreat, it was 4 or 5 years ago, and we practiced silence, stillness, and solitude. On the retreat, we practiced silence, stillness, and solitude. And even with the silence, it was a classroom of us, probably about 25 people, 25, 30 people. And so for the week, um, we had to take a vow of silence for one day of the retreat. There's about 25, 30 of us or so. We had to sign up six a day for the silence, to where we couldn't speak the entire day. We had to practice silence. In the classroom, we couldn't speak. Hallways, this, that, and the other. They even had a separate cafeteria to where we could eat in, but we couldn't speak. So all you heard was the clinging and the clanking of the silverware and the cups. But we practiced silence, and so we leaned into ourselves. We leaned into our emotions. We leaned into God, as we practiced silence. And I tell you, it was one of the most powerful things ever. Man, that retreat, there was so much clarity. There was so much growth and development that took place that weekend. It was outstanding. And so silence, y'all, silence, the language of silence. Yeah, it can be deafening, but it also can be defining. And there's so much that as you navigate through this grief, as you navigate through these seasons of silence, there's so much that you can do, that you can extract so much good from it. If you will take the time, I love what it says, to lean into God, right? Take the time for reflection, take the time for renewal, take the time to listen to your thoughts, to connect with God, simply to rest. Take 5 minutes today. Close your eyes, breathe deeply, allow yourself to simply to be present with your thoughts and your emotions. and let it bless you. You're freezing up on Facebook. You're freezing up on Facebook. I hope it got better. I hope it got better. I'm just seeing the comments. I hope it got better. So I hope and pray it did. But I love y'all with the love of the Lord. I appreciate y'all. Make sure y'all take the time to do that on today. I'll see y'all tomorrow, same time, same place. Let's go.